Now, I want to get on to something which I reported on today, and there's good and bad news about it. Friday the 13th is getting a prequel series. Just that, in and unto itself, sounds bad, doesn't it? What do you think?
Like a show series or like a movie?
A series, a prequel series on Peacock,
Isn't it
TV
called
series
Crystal Lake?
called Crystal Lake. What do you guys think? Just as news, what do you think?
Is it going to be just about his
else?
mom?
No, we don't know. Just that. That's all we know. I shouldn't have showed you just that yet. So just that concept. Because that news to me, when I heard that, I was like, that sounds crap.
Well,
Yeah.
I pretend not to know anything about it.
I know. God damn it. But then, it is from Bryan Fuller. And I was like, that's
yeah,
positive.
it is from Bryan Fuller. Where, there's some plausibility there. I can see that this is the guy who did Hannibal. So, okay.
I just don't see a Friday the 13th prequel without Jason in the hockey mask. Any Friday the 13th without Jason in the hockey mask being successful.
Oh, like the first two movies?
Yeah, like they're my least favorite, definitely.
They're the most successful.
Yeah.
No.
maybe the mom wears the mask and she runs it down.
But why would
No,
you,
I
though?
think it'll be more like
Jason's not dead.
to be honest, I think it's going to be a lot like the Bates Motel show. It's going to be more about well, there is a history to the family, especially fans of the franchise who've played the game and stuff.
Idea.
Yeah, I mean, you have Elias Voorhees, who is his father, but not his biological father. You have his mother, who has supposedly a history of issues in some versions of the lore. He also has a brother.
What?
Yeah, and so
What's his name?
I think it was Joshua.
Jedediah Voorhees?
Jedediah.
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah.
I think it was either Joshua or something like that. But yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they pull off with this. I think Bryan Fuller may be able to do something with this. As far as the rest of it goes, I see where Nick's coming from, but they've been trying to do a prequel for years and years and years. The remake did okay, but really the remake wasn't much more than just another sequel. If you really look at it, and a bad one at that. I don't know. There could be something here. I'm sure it'll have Jason in it just as a kid, though, and I'm sure it'll lead up to his death or whatever. So that's probably the.
I guess that could be interesting,
Right.
seeing him as a kid, and I guess it'd be similar to like the Halloween prequel / reboot with Rob Zombie, where it showed him as a kid and kind of how he became, Michael Myers, the serial killer, just to give some context behind his personality and why he is the way he is.
Yeah, so I think, like, again, there's good and bad stuff about this, right? There's good and bad stuff about this. So Bryan, right, a prequel series called Crystal Lake to Friday the 13th, just generally as a concept, on face value, it sounds pointless. Like, it sounds rubbish, I think, right? I'm happy to say that. I don't see the point of it. It's not fresh. It's not new. It's retreading old ground, right? However, Bryan Fuller is the main draw, right? You hear Bryan Fuller and you think of Hannibal and you go, wow, he's going to be writing this show. He's going to be the showrunner and executive producer. That's great. Love it. But then you hear what Susan Rovner, chairman of entertainment at NBC Universal Television, has to say about this. And then I'm not so happy. Then I'm not so happy again. Because it's sort of, I don't know. Friday the 13th is one of the most iconic horror franchises in movie history. So she understands it's a horror franchise, right? And we were dying to revisit this story with our upcoming drama series.
So you're going to take a horror series and turn it into a drama prequel. Interesting.
Well, that's what she's saying. She's differentiating between a horror franchise and a drama series. That doesn't sound great, does it?
No.
Right? It doesn't sound that great. And that really quells my expectations. Quells my excitement, right? My PP no hard. We can't wait to get to work with Bryan Fuller, a gifted visionary creator who I've had the pleasure of being a longtime friend and collaborator along with our incredible partners at A24. Then my excitement goes up again a little bit. I'm like, A24? Yeah, man, this roller coaster ride is up and down, but A24 is good, right? You like A24, ladies and gents?
Yeah, they are. They're known to have
Right,
a bit of a
right.
pedigree.
Don't,
But here's the thing:
jump
is
up
like,
all it. No, wait.
how would
I've
you?
got more. No. This roller coaster gets worse. Wait, it ends on a low. In this updated version for Peacock. Why are you updating it? It's a prequel. Updated drama series prequel. Crystal Lake. There you go. That's the end of the roller coaster ride, ladies and gents. Up, down, side to side. What do you think? Doesn't sound good, does it?
Well, I was just going to say, how do they categorize the Bates Motel series? I mean, because I could see it being more in that kind of a tone.
Yeah, and plus what Tom was saying earlier, and me thinking about them doing, I guess if they're going to do a prequel where it shows him as a kid and his family, and it shows how dysfunctional they are and him being bullied or whatever, I guess that could be more of like a drama side of things. And then it kind of shows, because of the drama of that, then he turns into, Jason the serial killer, so I mean, I guess I could see why they're saying it's going to be a drama if that's the direction they're going. But
I mean,
man, I don't know.
I mean, unless they're going to take the 50s and update that to the 80s, maybe I could see. So they're like setting
But then
up
is it a prequel?
I mean, yeah, I guess it could still be if it leads to an eventual Jason series. Because here's the thing. The only thing Victor Miller doesn't own is the title Friday the 13th. He owns Mrs. Voorhees, he owns Jason, he owns Crystal Lake. So as far as the characters goes, he owns all the characters in the location. And there was a huge argument over whether or not the adult hockey mask Jason was a derivative character or a wholly new character. And they said, no, it's the same fucking character because he appeared in the first movie. Yep. So in that case, he owns all these characters. So it doesn't say that Jason can't show up at some time in any form, for that matter.
No, he can. He literally.
That's what I'm saying. Is he literally can
all of the other elements.
Yeah, the only thing they can't use is Friday the 13th, the title. Basically, that's it.
So I wonder.
Nobody gives a shit anyway, because I said there hasn't been a Friday the 13th movie technically since 1989. They've all been called Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X. Other than the remake.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, Nick.
I was just going to say, I'm curious if they're going to do if they could possibly do time jumps where they're showing stuff in the future with him as an adult, and that kind of flashes back to the story of him as a kid,
That's what I was about to say, yeah. So
they could kind of mix the two between the horror and the drama.
Well, and we do know of a few events. They do mention a few events that have prequel elements to them in the first movie. We know they tried to open it after Jason died, and that's where we see the two killings in the opening of the movie, right? And then there was another time they tried opening it and the water was poisoned. And then this is the third attempt in the first movie when they're trying to open this up again since it's been closed down. So there's a bit of a history with Camp Crystal Lake itself as far as that goes too. And she worked there as a cook at the time too. That was the whole thing. So it could be about the Christies and them opening up Crystal Lake to begin with, the bullying of Jason, how she deals with all that, the death of Jason, and then the next season is the first year's murders. Maybe she killed more people than those two campers. That's where they'll reimagine this a little bit, and it'll kind of be like the first movie, only when she's younger, setting things up for down the road. Who knows? Bryan Fuller, I think he could do okay. A24, okay. Peacock, meh. I think that's just because A24 is attached to Universal, so...
Yeah, true. I think look, I think with a time jump thing, backwards and forwards, I think that'll lose people. Jason, Bryan Fuller's good and he's a good writer, and could he make this something which is compelling? Yes. On face value though, Jason Voorhees isn't really a compelling character. He's just not. He's a slasher. He's interesting on that level. I like Jason Voorhees. I've got Friday the 13th, the final chapter NECA figure you can't see because my bloody name badge is in the way. But anyway, I've got figures down there, right? I like Friday the 13th. Yeah, but he's not a massively compelling character. He is what he is. He's a very singular archetype.
Very one
you know?
note. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very one note, and he doesn't need to be anything else. He's interesting as he is on that level. So flitting backwards and forwards, do you risk fundamentally changing the character from there? Like, yeah, probably. And also, will they then do what most people do now and try and make him sort of like a sympathetic villain? I fucking hope not.
Yeah.
Not sympathetic at
As
all.
long as they
Sympathetic
have a sleeping bag beating scene with him beating it against the tree, it'll make the show.
God.
The show will be fine if they at least add that in there.
That's the one requirement from Nick there. Oh, dear. So yeah, any other thoughts on that, guys?
I guess we're at a wait and see at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that this is the route they're going. I think there is another Friday the 13th project in the works, but it can't have anything to do with Jason. So they're gonna have to come up with their own new villain or whatever.
Listen, let's modernize it, Tom. You know, let's do Jason X versus Latinx, and Jason kills the hell out of all of them. That would be.
And then we can get the Latinx men in there as well.
Moneymaker, Latinx men, toda los wocosos, man. Get all the wocosos in there versus Jason.
Aliba, get some whatever else is it. Yeah, let's do it.
But seriously, like I loved Bates Motel. I like Mike Myers. This seems like for me, I always forget about. Then it's Kruger and then Jason. So that's kind of my level there. Norman Bates, and I thought Bates Motel is masterful. If it could be something like that, sure, I'll watch the pilot. But other than that, no.
I'll give it 2 or 3 episodes when it comes out.
Well, I mean, the reason I keep bringing up Bates Motel is that Victor Miller flat out said that Friday the 13th was a reversal on Psycho, right? Instead of the son still being alive and pretending the mother is and having the split personality issue and killing as the mother, you see at the end of the first Friday the 13th, it's the reversal. The son's dead, and she's trying to keep the son alive by, kill her, mommy, kill her. I will, Jason. You know, that whole thing kind of thing. Yeah. So that's all it really is. It's just Psycho in reverse.
Well, Gary, for $10, so thank you so much for the super chats, guys. He dropped in here and said actually his stepdad was abusive and his mum finally killed him to protect Jason. This is where Rob Zombie would have been better, not on Halloween, or he would have been better in Texas Chainsaw. I mean, so that's an interesting concept, but that does make Jason sympathetic to a degree, doesn't it? Makes his plight sympathetic. And I don't know if I want Jason Voorhees to be sympathetic in any way, really. I don't know. Like, I think, I mean, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I mean, obviously this is established stuff. I wasn't aware of that. I don't know. This to me, I'm not hugely enamored with it. And where do you go? It's kind of, this is a wait and see. I think, as you said, Tom, it's definitely a wait and see situation, right?
Sort of like the villain, instead of the hero journey, the villain journey, you know, is like when Anakin in the prequels, you know, he was the good guy, you know, everybody liked him. And then, you know, we saw how he ends up turning to Darth Vader. And it seems like they're going to kind of be doing the same thing. But, you know, after watching that, you know, you always looked at Vader differently. When you just had the OT, he was just the big baddie. You know, it's like Friday the 13th. Currently, you know, Jason's just the big baddie. You know, if they do this prequel where you end up having sympathy and feeling sorry for him, then it kind of changes your outlook on the character a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that about wraps that up, to be honest. I mean, we can't really say much else on that. Like, just wait to see.
Not till we get more information. Released. Exactly, yeah.